Folks, we got a big mod for the boat today, and that modification is my entirely new Livescope system. I've got the pole, I've got the battery, I've got the unit, everything going on all right here. This is gonna work for kayaks, for small boats like mine, and big boats as well. So in today's video, I'm gonna show you guys how I built this setup, as well as take it out on the lake behind me here and see if we can go get some crappie with it. So let's go. Okay, so one of the goals on this entire build was to not drill any new holes into the boat. I just didn't want to drill any for this mod. I felt like I could do it without drilling new stuff. So we're actually going to be utilizing the Scotty side bracket that I have on my boat currently, and we're going to be using one of these Scotty ball joints here to connect to a ram mount. That way I can actually put the pole on the ram bracket and I can move it and adjust that, you know, that pole wherever I want on the side of the boat. So that's how we're gonna do it here. You guys are probably seeing a little clip right now of what my old setup looked like, and you're now seeing a clip of, I guess, the goal of what the new setup is going to look like. So to get started here, we're gonna have to start building our entire Livescope pole first. Now, as usual, all of the products are linked below. I'm actually gonna be using a lot of Summit fishing gears stuff in today's video. I am not working with them. I did not get any type of discount to use their stuff in this video. I just, from what I did online, it seemed to be the best way to build this mount, at least from what I could tell. So we're gonna be using the Summit fishing carbon fiber pole here. What I like is that it extends out a little bit farther as well. So if you wanna get farther down in the water, or you want to move this, you know, you wanna move your handle up a little bit, it's a great way to do that. So we're actually going to close this up a little bit here. Okay, and now that we have our pole ready, the first thing we're gonna be doing is mounting this little joint right here. This is what's going to connect in between our ram mount to our boat right here. So we're gonna take this guy, we're actually gonna slide this over the top. You wanna have this loosened up as much as possible. Now, as you guys see, it can actually swing through, and that's the goal here, right? Is you want to be able to move your pole without any type of tension, but at the same time, if you wanna lock it up, right, you can tighten this right here, and you notice it's a little tougher, and if you keep tightening it, now it's not really moving a whole ton. So we're gonna have this opened up here, just like that, and we're gonna take, this comes with it right here, it's this little ring, this little clamp ring. You're gonna have this loosened up the most that you can, and you're going to slide this over the top and down just like that. I like to have everything lined up, so as you guys see, all of the screw points are gonna be all lined up there. I'm gonna take my Allen right here, just like that, and as you see, this all now moves, right? This moves, but it can't fall off of the pole. So the next step here is we're gonna have to actually add our transducers. Now, I am running 2 transducers. At least that's the goal here, is I want to be able to run my Livescope, and I want to be able to run my side scan all at the same time. So that's what the GT36 is for, and that's what your Livescope unit is for right here. As you guys can tell here, I actually have both of them connected to my Garmin little bag unit right here, but I have a bait cast rod sock connected over the top of the 2 lines. So the goal here, right, is that sock is not only being used for wire management, but it's also being used just to protect the wires in case it were to, you know, to hit anything, if there were to be a hook flying by or just whatever, right? These are not cheap. These are very expensive transducers. So I want to be able to protect that wire as much as I can, because that's typically what's gonna go bad, is something to do with the wire, or you're gonna scuff the bottom of your transducer. And for that, I actually have a neoprene transducer cover to go over the top of this, which I will put on here in a moment. So, you know, take care of your stuff, guys, and it will take care of you back. So we can actually get our Livescope out of the way for a moment. We are going to be attaching our GT36. Now, this is also from Summit right here. This is their GT36 side scan adapter right here. This actually fits onto this unit, so everything is all in the same pool, you know, the same pole, which is what I love about it. So we're actually gonna take this, and as you guys can tell, those holes are gonna line up with the screws right here, just like that. So we can now take our screws, and these screws came with the GT36 transducer, so whatever mount you have it on right now, you should be able to just use the same ones that came with your Garmin device here. I like to attach them all first, just kind of loosely screwed in, and then once they're all really in, then I'll go back and I'll tighten them down. You don't want to tighten up, you know, tighten them too much, because it really, I don't think is gonna ever fall off, but you definitely want to have them pretty latched on there. So now that you've got that, you can actually attach your Livescope to your LVS 32 attachment right here. This is also another thing that Summit makes. It's a lot of Summit stuff on this, which I really like. Now, these actually have the little grooves on the Livescope. It's the same thing on like Garmin's standard pole that you get when you buy their product. And this is the same adapter, the same little thing right here. So you're gonna pull that over on each other. And this is also comes with the Garmin Livescope system, so this should be the same stuff that you were using before. It's just a rubber washer, a metal washer, and then your metal little screw right here. You're gonna take that, we're gonna take our Allen key, and with this, you actually do want to have this screwed on as tight as possible. You do not want this loose at all. And even, there's kind of a limit. So you'll see where I screwed and then it just stops. Like it stops right at that spot. You can tighten this to that stopping point and it's still going to be able to move if you want to change to forward, down, or you want to do any type of movements. The cool other thing about this is that you can also get perspective mode. You can fold this right here and you can move your transducer sideways as well. Perspective mode is something I haven't really experimented with a ton here. I actually am still very new to Livescope in general. So that is something that I'm looking forward to kind of checking out this year and seeing if I can get a little bit better at. Now, the Livescope adapter, the GT36 adapter, and the actual pole, they all have holes that line up with each other. So once you have this mounted, having all these the correct way, you definitely want to have your Garmin reading left to right and your Summit reading left to right. So whatever way this little side, you know, the side scan transducer, if it's tapered here on the end, and you want that tapered thinner section to be facing forward. So the water is going this way, right? The boat is going this way. So same thing as the Garmin. We're gonna have those just like that. As you guys can tell, the holes line up, and then you're gonna line them up here. And then we're gonna take, this comes with the Summit kit, it's this little clip right here. You're going to put this through all of the spots, just like that. And actually, I'm gonna do it this way because it's a little bit easier, it's out of the way. It's nice to have it in the back. This is gonna clip over. And just like that, you have everything attached onto your Livescope pole. Now what's cool is these little bait cast rod socks, they actually come with a little elastic here on the end. You guys see that little elastic part, and that's supposed to go around your bait cast reel. Well, this works great, putting it around your little GT36, and it helps keep the wires protected all the way to the very top, or the very front right there, which is nice. Now, we are gonna add a zip tie to this here, just to keep our wire management a little bit better. Now, you don't want to do this extremely tight. And the reason why I say that is because your pole is gonna have to be turning, and it's gonna be going up and down, so you don't want this to be locked, because if you wanna open up this pole, it's gonna have to take some of that line, away, basically. So we're just gonna do this just like this, kinda just light, just like that, pretty light, just something to keep it in this general area right here. We're gonna take our clippers here, we're gonna cut that. And as of right now, we are like 95% done. So let's go take it over to the boat and I'll show you guys how I'm gonna install this on the water. Okay, so we're back at the boat here. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take our Scotty ball joint and we're going to clip that in. Next up is we're gonna take our whole system here, and as you guys see, this bag has everything. This has the fish finder, this has my lithium battery, this has the GLS, Livescope box, and it's got all the cords to our pole connected. So when I get out on the water, I am just grabbing this, and I am bringing this out to put on top of my boat. Done. I don't have to do anything else in the morning, which is really nice. So this is gonna be situated right here, and now we are going to take our ram mount and we're going to connect it to this spot right here. And what's nice is they have a little spring in there when it's not tightened, so you can fit it on just like that. And then we're going to clip this. Sometimes you may have to loosen this a little bit to fit over, and then we're going to tighten that down just like that. So that's what we're gonna be able to do on the water. As you guys see, it is aiming down. What's nice is we can kind of adjust this however we want. So as you guys see, that's what I'm gonna have on the water, just like this. But if I'm getting out to the, out to the spot, or I'm coming back to the boat launch, or I'm fishing really shallow water and I wanna lift this up, it's as simple as unscrewing that, lifting this up, and it's out of the water, and now I can go mobile, right? Or if you really wanted to, you can kind of tuck this in a little bit more. You can kind of move this a certain way, just like that. So that's a little more flush to the boat, which is nice. That way, if you're casting or something, like I said, if you're in really shallow water, it's completely out of the way. We want to have a pole on the top here. We want to have a little handle to be able to know exactly where we're pointed. I apologize if the neighbors' kids are being extremely loud. They're kids, let them do their thing. We're gonna put this right here on the top, and you just kind of loosen this. Now the key is you want to align this so that it is straight with the transducer, right? Because when you're on the water and you want to find where the schools of crappie are and you're in forward mode, you want to be able to turn this, and you want this to show you exactly where they are. Because if this is pointing here, but your transducer's here, you're not even going to the right area once you've found the fish. Obviously with down, with the down orientation, it doesn't matter. But for forward, which I feel like is gonna be really important for me in the future, you want this perfectly accurate with your Livescope transducer. And what's cool is you can turn this up. So say I'm standing up in the boat, I can have this a little higher. That way it's a little bit easier for me to move and see my direction. Same thing as if I'm cruising somewhere and I don't really need it, say I'm trolling for kokanee, well, I can just fold this down, right? I can fold this down and out of the way, and I don't have to worry about that. So there's a lot of different ways that you can adjust this. This is the system right here. We're gonna test this out on the water here, and we're gonna see if we can find some crappie doing this. All right, we are on the water, folks. We are gonna get out, see if we can get on some crappie or some trout. However, it's time to plug this little guy in here and see how it works. So as you guys see here, right, it is down in the water, and I can still move it. I do have it pretty tight set right here. So as you guys see, I can still kind of move it like that. But we are reading on both maps and right here. Now the key is going to be side scan. So, because I know we'll get Livescope and everything, okay? But let's check side view here. My only worry with side view was that it wasn't going to read, because that Livescope's unit, that transducer is kind of a little bit overlapping with it, but it's looking like it is reading everything perfectly fine here, which is awesome. As you guys can see, it is reading everything fine. There's nothing, nothing going on. It's looking like that may be a fish right there based on that little shadow. That is awesome. I am really freaking pumped that everything is working. This was kind of the first step, was, wasn't even catching fish, but just making sure that this actually works, because that was kind of my main goal today, was to just get this thing out and going. So I'm stoked about that. The only thing left now is to go catch a crappie. Today, basically, we're just gonna be kind of trolling around. We're gonna be looking for the schools, and then once we find that school, a big old fish just rose right there. Once we find a big pile up of fish, that's when we're gonna actually, stop, put the Livescope on, and then try to find them. And so that's the nice thing about having that side scan and having the Livescope, is I'm able to run both kind of at the same time and use whichever one I think is gonna be most useful. Oh yeah. Oh, that was so cool. That was so cool to watch. Oh my gosh. That was so cool. Oh my goodness. That is not a big one by any means, but that was really cool to actually see him come up on the screen and eat it. It took me a little minute there to kind of figure out, what settings to use and how to look for my bait and where to cast. But once I'm starting to figure it out here, now I'm kind of understanding where I have to cast to put it right onto a school of fish. Awesome. We're not keeping any today, but he would have made a real nice taco. Oh, we got them all underneath. We're in the perfect spot right now. Oh, that was so cool. That was so sick. You can actually watch the fish come up and eat. That is so incredibly badass, folks. Oh my goodness. Oh, I can see why people love this so much. The rig itself that we're using today is actually super simple. All it is just a red and white tube, and then about 1.5 feet up, I've got basically like a drop shot setup with just a little piece of night crawler, and they are crushing that top piece. They don't really seem to want the tube as much today, but basically it's a glorified drop shot rig, and we're using a tube instead of a drop shot weight. So I've got that on a, this is actually a custom jigging rod that a friend made for me. Shout out to Lonnie from Fish and Fool. Made me this custom vertical jigging crappie rod. So I've been meaning to bust this thing out, but oh man, this is so much fun, folks. I hope you guys can see this here. See if I can block off the screen for you from the shade. So those are all crappie right there. And basically I'm moving that Livescope pole, and I can adjust based on where the fish are. So as you guys see, that's where they're the reddest. So that's where the most of them are. So I can actually chase these fish up and down and just basically follow a certain school and then jig and watch my lure on the screen. So as you guys see, they're right here, okay? But we're kind of losing them. So I'm gonna turn my little machine here. Boom, and that's where they are the thickest, is right in that spot. So basically now, that's all I'm doing is I'm turning that screen, and as you guys see, I'm going right towards them. So now they're gonna be right below me here, and then basically once I'm on the school, I'm gonna cast my lure out, and I'm watching them come up and eat. It is so cool watching them do this, and it's an extremely effective way to find fish.
Color you've been using?
Well, I'm actually using, oh, of course that's a perch. Oh my goodness.
Oh, is that a toad?
Red and white tube on the bottom, and then the top, like 1.5 feet up, I'm just doing a little crawler, like a drop shot, basically. That's awesome. That is so cool, folks. We're getting perch out here too. Ah, that is sweet. See you, buddy. If you guys like these boat modifications, you're also gonna love the one that I've done right here on my boat. Also, I've got an entire overview of my setup right here on this video for you guys that are wondering everything I got going on the boat. So hopefully you guys got a kick out of today's adventure. We'll see you guys next time on Humbug Videos.